Hello guys, welcome back to CloudVi. In today's sessions, I'm going to discuss how to install and configure pglogical, which is required for postgreSQL CDC migration. Now, the questions could be asked that why I'm going to discuss this topic. This topic rests when I got an error while performing the CDC from my on-prem PostgreSQL to RDS PostgreSQLs, and during the full load it was fine, but the CDC failed and it was giving some kind of pglogical error, and the error leads that some of the steps as a Postgres as a DMS source is not been followed. So when I check the document and I understood, when I check the document now, when I look back at the document, like the PostgreSQL as a DMS source, I find it the documents we have done the exact same things what the document said. We set the parameters and all these things. Then I realize that the set wall label what is mentioned as a logical, what is logical. Then I understood this logical and the pglogical, you have to set something called a pglogical, and the errors pointed to that the CloudWatch error that something pglogical is not set. Then I understood the pglogical is a kind of an extension. Why it is required? Because it requires this pglogical asynchronously replicates only the changes in the data by using the logical decoding. And when we discuss about this wall level, we said that we set this logical. This is also kind of a logical decoding. So it's kind of a asynchronous replications. Now, why it was not mentioned, I don't know. It was supposed to be mentioned that there is some kind of significant steps to be done in our community PostgreSQL, because the pglogical is a part of the RDS since version 9.6, but not a part of the community PostgreSQLs. Then I find out that pglogical is available as a RPM via YAM for CentOS and RHEL, the Red Hat Linux, and for as a Debian and Ubuntu. Now it was not mentioned as Amazon Linux. I tried for some time for the Amazon Linux. Technically it should work, but it didn't work for me. Then what I did, I copied my entire database, Postgres database, to RHEL source database, and I configured this pglogical in the RHEL level. So today I am going to show you how to do that. Okay. Now, if you with me, you can see this pglogical is developed by second quadrant. Now they have developed this thing, the second quadrant. They have developed these things, and they mentioned it is available for CentOS, RHEL, Debian, and Ubuntu, and there are some steps. So when I went to the steps, this is something that you have to first install the appropriate pddg repo, and then you have to install this PostgreSQL server and PostgreSQL contrib. Now the problem I found, once I installed this the repo file, it was not searching anything the yum install. This PostgreSQL server, it was not found anywhere. I found it really baffling, and I don't know what to do. Then I find the solutions. Okay, so I am going to discuss. This is a kind of a it take me up for a long time to understand how to deal with these things, though there are some kind of procedures, but I am going to show you how to do that, and thereafter we have to do some kind of steps in the PostgreSQL conf file also, and thereafter we can install the extensions, and then we can perform the CDC. Okay, so let's proceed. For that, I am just going to show you the installation part and the configuration part. For that, I will be needing a RHEL EC2 instance. So first I will be creating RHEL machine. So I'll launch machine. Okay, logged in as a root. So the first steps I'm gonna do, I'm going to install the repo for this is for Red Hat Enterprise 8. Copy the address and then yum install. Now this is the fresh server. I am going to install the Postgres 12 as well. The problem is that whenever suppose you already installed something, the Postgres on it, whenever you are going to do that, you won't find this one. I'll tell you the why, what is happening. So say yum search, it's hard to find. You can see that there is no matches found. Okay, that's the problem. But this, if you don't install this thing, you cannot install the pglogical. This is kind of a breaks. So for that I searched a lot and then I got some kind of solutions. Okay, I'll use dnf list postgreSQL. You can see there is a lot of things you can get it from the using the DNF. So out of this I am going to install the Postgre 12 SQL 12 servers and the contrib. Maybe I'll narrow down DNF list postgreSQL server. Okay, it's only showing about this the default one, so that I have to first disable the default PostgreSQLs here. So I'll module disable PostgreSQL. Okay, run my previous query again. Now you can see that since it is the default is disabled, it is showing everything. So I'm going to install this one, dnf install. Okay, similarly I'll search for contrib and I'll install for that Postgres 12. Okay, done. The next steps, I'm going to installing the pglogical. I'll copy these steps. This has to be done as a root. Okay, the next steps, I'm going to install the pglogical. Done. Now I have to complete my setup for Postgre server. So I'll PostgreSQL. I got the setup. This is something I have not given the 12, that's why it was not coming. Setup and for initdb. Okay, now I'll reset the password for Postgres. PostgreSQL 12. Okay, stop also and restart. And I can also enable so that it will automatically start. Okay, I have installed the PostgreSQL as well as the install the RPM part of the pglogical. Next part, I have to change some configurations. for creating the extension. There is a two configuration changes is there. You know, we already have discussed the configurations required for the pghba-conf. Like, you know, we have to put this for to change it for IPv4 and for the permissions of the DMS, and both of the things we need to change it to the MD5. You have to put either the DMS, you have to put the enable the IP address, like, you know, the DMS IP address, so that it can contact with the DMS, the source instance. So we have already discussed all these things. And the another thing for this pglogical, we have to set up this following parameters. Only the thing, few things already been set in the document, like wall level, max worker process, max replication slots, max wall senders. Two more things need to be added. Like, one is the shared preload libraries, pglogical. This is important for the pglogical should be up. And another thing is from 9.6 onwards, we need to put also track commit timestamps. This is also been automatically set in RDS, but for the your community edition, this has to be set exclusively. Okay, so first I'll log into Postgres. I'll change the pghba-conf. pghba-conf already we have discussed, but I just want to reiterate again. This is set for 127 address. Ideally, it should be your DNS address. If you are using the DMS replication instance, if you are not using this DMS, then it should be your target RDS address. For us, let us put similarly. The most of the stuff need to be changed in the postgreSQL.conf file. Okay, first is I'll check this thing, wall level, logical, max work, track, max replication slots, as well as max wall senders. And the last one is shared preload libraries. This needs a bounce. Okay, bounce is done. So I'll log back to Postgres. Create the DB, create extension pglogical. Okay, so now once it's done, you can see that if I'll grab this pglogical, there is a separate process is running. What we can check, run this query, you can see that everything is okay. Max worker process supposed to be 10, but it's okay. Now the pglogical is running. So this is all about installing and configurations of the pglogical, but this is a good learning, and you know, at least I able to install it, and now we'll be proceeding for the CDC migrations. Okay, thank you.